Hi everyone, I'm Lisa Soames-Peck. This is Spellbound Miniatures. Welcome to our YouTube channel and part 2 of our wood burning stove tutorial. In part 1 we made the stove and we used the fixed door version there where it just holds itself in place if you want to do that version. But now we're going to look at how we did the hinges, and I managed to get all of these, the 6th, the 12th and the 24th scale, to have working hinges. This one is so cute, and you pull the door and it does actually open. It's a little bit wobblier because it's just so small, it's hard to get it really exacting, but we did hinge it and we've got some logs and flames in there. But I used the same diameter tubing for all three. I really should have gone down to a smaller scale tubing for that one, but I just kind of wanted to test the theory that we could do it. Now we've got 3 different types of knobs. This one you'll remember I used in the grandfather clock on the clock case. Hang on, that's going to come off there. There we go. That's just a pull handle, and that's simply just drill a hole and it comes with a little peg on the back to push in. That was also on the grandfather clock tutorial, and this one I made. I don't know if you can see that, and I'll show you how I did that. Oh, I'll show you first actually. These are just, that's how the tiny little handles come for the 24th scale. That's Houseworks number 1112. And then this is the pull or the drop handle they're calling it. Just get them off eBay or Amazon. And then for this one, I used a head pin, get one that's not too bent. This is a rose gold bead selection box. So just a head pin and the head that, can you see that there? Oh, that's not focusing very well, is it? There. And one of these earrings. And you can see it's got, this is a pretty cool hack, this one. I don't know if I'll be able to get it. I'll put up a still of this if it's not that obvious. But you can see there I used the spring and the little ball on the head pin. So get some pliers. These are jewellery pliers because anybody you'll follow me, you'll know I do jewellery. And we just want to take, first of all, the ball and the hinge off of the earring wire. It's not going to come very easy, so we'll just snip the end off. When you could almost leave that eye pin there, but I don't like that so much. So we end up with the ball. Oh, there we go. Which we just put onto the head pin, and then the spring. There we go. And you can see how that matches there. And then we just bend it over where we think we would like the, can you see that? Yeah, there. And snap it off, but leaving enough to poke through into the door like that. Can you see that there? So that's simply, I'm going to pull it out now because I haven't glued it in. Put a hole there like that, and then you could put glue on. But I like the fact that if you don't put glue on, it moves. So in photographs you could say have it up and leave it open. That's a little bit more realism, and put it down when it's shut. So that's a simple how to DIY your own, gosh, they're very difficult to get on camera, handle there. If you don't want to buy any, you just need a shepherd's hook earring finding. So that is the handles. We're going to go over now, I kind of photographed stage by stage how I did the tubed pin hinge there, and again you'll just see there I used the same head pin in the tube to keep them all in a line. So we'll go over and I'll talk you through that now. So another tip for creating faux hinges is to take the same pliers and wrap the wire around them to mimic the spring, and you could glue that on to look like hinges but still on the fixed door. And here you can see a better close-up of the handle, and I used another head pin just chopped off there for the faux drawer knob too. So this is the tube I got, and it's 1.5 millimeters in diameter on the outside and 1.3 millimeters on the inside diameter. And I got this tubing from a specialist model maker online here in the UK. I'm sure you'll be able to find similar wherever you are. And it's also worth noting that this is brass tubing rather than plastic, for example. Here is where you can see how that hinged tab layer of kraftboard is crucial in where you put it in your door layers. The tubing should be able to slide underneath it, and then the kraftboard sits on top but doesn't lift the door away from the stove housing. I marked with a Sharpie either side of the tab, and these became my saw cuts, so I knew exactly where to saw to get the hinge to line up. This is a very handy tool which I've used in jewellery making. It's a mini vise and it clamps the tubing equally and holds it whilst you saw it, and it helps to give very clean cuts, as you can see. Now I used tacky glue to glue those hinges in place, and before the glue sets you want to put the other two pieces in line with the first two that you glued and check in case they need to be moved aside a little bit. And this is just a quick photograph to show you how crucial it is to get the diameter of the tube and the layer of the hinge tab level with the sort of main part of the door and not sticking up over it. If the hinge is too large, the door won't shut properly. So we get a head pin and we push it down through the first part of the tube and then put in the other 2 or 3 bits, so we have one complete hinge. And you can see there we've got all the 4 bits in, but only 2 of them are glued. And we place the door on the stove, and you can see the hinge on the right hand side there. And once you're happy that the hinge is kind of, the door's level and the hinge is where you want it to be, take a pencil and mark a line against the first unglued bit of hinge. Put some tacky glue to the other side of the line and then place the tube on the glue up to the line and let it dry. I have a really old pair of pliers, or tweezers, sorry, that I used in soldering. They're just bent at the end, but where I overheated them, they've splayed out, and that actually makes them perfect for guiding tubing. They kind of fit either side. We do the same with the second piece of unglued tubing and really let that go and set well. While you're waiting for it to set, take the door and cut with a craft knife the excess kraftboard off from the other side of the brass tubing. And you can sand it down if you want to, so there's not such an obvious square edge to that. So that is the door part of the hinge complete. You line it up onto the main housing and put the head pin down through all 4 pieces, and that effectively completes your hinge. And here you can see this is the 12th scale version, and I did the exact same method, just smaller pieces of tubing. Okay, hopefully I explained that clearly enough. It's one of those things, it's difficult to put what's in my head into a video sometimes, but hopefully you followed it enough that if you want to make one, you can. The next thing we're going to look at is the log beds. And if you watched the Halloween series that we did, the Book Nook, I used the exact same method for this one. So I did build a little platform for this from Matboard, and it's literally just a base that of a size that I know that will fit in there, and 3 sides, and then I left the back open for the wires to come up through. And it's the same thing that we used before. I'll put the link to that video now for how we wired these battery packs with an LED, and we used flicker flame LEDs, so you'll notice they do flicker, and that's what the hole is for on the back of the stove, so that when you put the LED through, it lights up. And the hot glue gun is ideal for this. It kind of works like a bit like an optic fibre. So go and watch that video if you haven't seen that one, explains it better. So for the 6th scale one, I kind of used the same branch, and as the branch got thinner, I cut smaller and smaller logs from it. So this is the kind of medium size. There we go. So we've got the bigger bit of the branch, the smaller ones, and then I did actually do some really tiny ones in there. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. Tiny little tips of the branches on that one. And then I did my usual, the LEDs are in there, sorry, with the hot glue gun, and pulled the glue out. And so the battery pack is only held in, I kind of double-sided masking tape that, because you might want to get it out to change batteries, but it holds it in there. So just make sure that the sides of the log bed are deep enough for whatever battery pack you've got in there. And then that switches on like that, and then that's why I did a removable lid for this one, because I wouldn't be able to get that in through the door necessarily. And then I did put a sort of a catch on this one, a piece of cocktail stick, you'll see there, one on the bottom and one on the top. I don't know if that's come out very well. So one onto the door, and then it just sits up onto that to keep that shut. And I did paint the inside black on this one. I felt it kind of gave a nice contrast between the black and the orange of the flames. I used orange flicker flames. You could use yellow or red depending on the intensity of the fire that you wanted. This could do with a little bit of a sand really to get that. It's a very good push fit. I don't want to force it and bust it. There we go. That's on. So that's that one there. and these ones do actually come out with a little bit of wiggle and on the right sort of angle, so that's why I didn't leave the top removable on that one. So that's something you'll need to bear in mind when you're doing your logs, is to put them onto I used a piece of Matboard for this one, and yeah, I did Matboard for that one as well actually. You could use a piece of chipboard, I don't want to get that out now. Like this, so just cut that and paint it black, and that one I've glued in actually, so it didn't wiggle around. So do have a play around. That one goes in there like that, and you can get different intensity. I don't know if that's going to show up on camera so much, that if the light, the LED is pointing up, it's brighter in the fire, and if it's pointing down, it kind of gets more glowy. So play around with that. The wide stove is wide enough that you could secure the battery pack on the back, as long as you bring the wires down and in. So you might want to put quite a short wire on that one, and then you wouldn't necessarily see the battery pack from the front. And I managed to find a single cell battery holder for the 24th scale stove. We wired it as close as we could to the holder so that it would fit on the back of the 24th scale stove. And it's very slim in profile too. I need to do a few finishing touches on the top of this, or the underneath of the top of this one. This catch, I don't know if you can see that one, because the door is so thin, the handle kind of stuck through to the other side, so I literally just made a little divot there for the overhang to catch in, and that works. And then this one didn't actually need it, it kind of stays where it is, so play around with them. I think that's it. Oh no, one more thing, just like Columbo. If you wanted different legs, you could always try with beads. So this is just a general pack of wooden beads. You could have round or square or oval legs if you wanted to change it up a bit, and depending on the style. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you soon.